Progressivism is on the rise. I'm Bella Fritz, and this is Hampton Hand, and we're here to break down this new movement for you.
Okay, progressivism is described by the famous professor, Mr. Edwards, as a crusade against the problems associated with the rapid growth of industries and urbanization.
So now I'm going to list 4 overview beliefs of a progressive person, and I want you all to evaluate whether or not you would like to join the efforts of this movement. First, anti-monopoly progressive reformers specifically want to target the harsh nature of urban political bosses and corporate robber barons such as King of Steel, Andrew Carnegie, and the rags to riches stories of John D. Rockefeller. This is an important idea for you middle-class citizens out there to contemplate. Progressives believe in greater democracy and social justice. They want more effective regulation of businesses and revived commitment to public service. Progressives believe that government could be used as an agency of human welfare. Specifically, this means government at all levels should help accomplish this reform. Progressives want to fix the problems of urban industrialized revolution by promoting government providing direct services. This direct services are schools or healthcare.
Wow, this movement is really going to provide relief to many American citizens. If you are wondering how to join this movement, it originates from 4 major groups. First, the Populist Party. The Populist Party is currently contributing to this party through various reforms. Check out the government regulation of businesses, progressive income tax, secret ballots, and more for more ways to get involved with the work of the Populist Party. Secondly, the middle class. This group of people is working to make this movement more business-centered. They are fighting for professionalism based on a certain standard, or forming boss politics and political machines, the Pendleton Act, and involving the government in regulation of crime problems and civil services. Thirdly, the muckrakers. Muckrakers are people who thrive on exposing scandals. For an example, check out Jacob Reese's work called How the Other Half Lives.
Thank you, Hampton. Now, the most important goal during this movement is women's rights, and the last group of people are the new women, and women are leading reform efforts for a variety of reasons. Most importantly, in our near future is the 19th Amendment, which will give women the right to vote. If any women are interested in doing their part, they can join clubs such as General Federation of Women's Clubs, Women's Trade Union League, and NAWSA.
Hey Bella, I think we should do our part for the better of our future.
I think so too. Let's get in contact with some of these groups of people and see what we can do to help during this movement.
Definitely.
I really want to work on my local business investments, but how can I do that when I work endless hours during the day and I can't see at night?
Well, now you can. Introducing the kerosene lamp. In order to use the kerosene lamp, you must first insert the kerosene into the base of the lamp. Then you light it. And voila! It now turns into a fully lit lamp. The kerosene lamp can be used in so many situations, whether it's indoors or outdoors. And it's affordable thanks to John D. Rockefeller and the Standard Oil Company.
Oh, there's my door. I found it. Now I can finally do my taxes and invest in the local businesses at nighttime, thanks to the kerosene lamp. Thanks, John D. Rockefeller, for making it affordable in my home. Are they? They're not that way. They're this way. They're right.
Thank you, Hampton and Bella. As you can see from what's behind me, Amber and I are out here in the middle of the protest where many women are advocating for the same rights as men.
That's right. Many women have gathered to show their support for the support of the equality of sexes and the right to vote. There are a lot of organizations that have spoken here today at this protest, including the National American Women's Suffrage Association, who support and advocate for the right for women to vote alongside men.
The controversy of women voting has been around for quite a while. Numerous women have been trying to gain this right, as well as others, to help influential speakers such as Susan B. Anthony, Jane Addams, and Ida Bell Wills.
Women's movements have come a long way so far and are getting closer and closer to making a difference in the community.
Just look at all the hard work they would put in to this cause.
Inspiration they all are. You know, these inspirational women are not only advocating for the right to vote, they also work to gain broad-based economic and political equality for social reforms.
Women play such an important role in the community. Their ability to take no for an answer and fight for equality has helped women all around the world.
Yes, I agree. They have worked hard to become part of the change that needs to happen.
It has been amazing to make such an impact on my future and for other fellow women.
Wow, this is so inspiring.
Thank you.
Hello, today I'm in an interview with Mr. Lincoln Steffens. Hello, Mr. Steffens, how are you today?
Hello, I'm good.
Very good, very good. So, first question of the day. Where were you born?
I was born in San Francisco, California. I was the only boy in my family with 3 sisters,
Okay.
and I was largely raised in Sacramento.
Interesting, interesting. When did you get your first break?
I got my first break with the New York Evening Post.
Interesting.
Then went to edit McClare's magazine.
Awesome.
This is where I got my most successful article, "The Shame of the Cities."
So can you tell me what happened after that?
I created the American magazine so I could get my messages and thoughts out to the people of America.
Very interesting, very interesting. And tell me, what is the message that you're trying to get out there in the public?
Well, I'm trying to tell everyone that there's just a lot wrong with America. I want to make sure that the Americans see the injustice that's going on in these factories, and I want people to start working towards a new future and fix all the problems that we have now.
Okay, interesting. Can you give us some quotes from your works that showed us?
Yeah. In The Shame of Cities, I say, there is no figure of speech. The honest citizens of Philadelphia have no more rights than the polls, or at the polls, than the Negroes down the South. And this was talking about the political machines in Philadelphia and how they force people to force their votes, and that they basically have the same rights as the African Americans. And I wanted to show the people, this so they would think or start working towards fixing this injustice.
Very good, very good. So that is all we have for today. This is our interview with Mr. Lincoln Steffens. Nice to meet you.
Here, teaching and research go hand in hand. We share our knowledge and our discoveries in order to make the world a better place. Our wide range of academic courses make us the best university of the 19th century. We aren't defined by our school spirit. We aren't defined by our community. We aren't defined by our athletic programs here at Johns Hopkins University. We aren't defined by the professors. No. We are defined by the big questions. Here, we began by asking the big questions to make a difference. We aren't just inventors. We aren't just innovators. We are makers and doers. We are Johns Hopkins.
7 years ago, our founding fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Today we ponder if all men were really created equal. Men, women, black or white, Christian or Jew, and who would save these people from being treated as less than?
The Gilded Age brought about a time where monopolies, political machines, nativism, and poor working qualities were present. It was an age that really focused on industrial capitalism and mass consumerism, the desire to own mass industries and really showcase the American dream. But with these dreams come corruption and poor lifestyle for the working and middle class.
How would the corrupt nation survive? How would a nation be known as a superpower? How do we solve this immense amount of issues driven by the Gilded Age? How, Bella? How?
How? Don't you think you are being a tad bit dramatic, Hampton? The answer is so obvious. Only the most looked up to the president of the time, a man of people, a problem solver, an economic genius. How could you forget about Theodore Roosevelt?
The progressive movement was the primary grassroots of the movement of thousands of activists, but in the early 20th century, progressivism entered the discourse of the national political parties. Roosevelt was a Republican who embraced the ideals of progressive reforms. He thought that the nation was in deep need of some reevaluation. Theodore Roosevelt assumed the position of president following the assassination of William McKinley in 1901. He quickly joined the Republican Party and the nation itself in a progressive direction, the domestic agenda known as the Square Deal.
President Roosevelt's Square Deal was an approach to solve public issues which is shown through his actions when handling the anthracite coal strike in 1902. He called for representatives from both management and labor to the White House, threatening to take over the mines if the owners did not compromise in the means of wage. As a result, the miners received a % wage increase. Roosevelt also pushed for important consumer protection in the wake of the publication of The Jungle in 1906, intended to be a socialist tract based on workers' conditions at a meat factory, that people just pay attention to the disgusting conditions. Directly leads to the tighter regulations for meat packing and formation of the Food and Drug Administration. Written by Muckraker, Upton Sinclair, Roosevelt also pushed for stronger measures to protect the environment and lastly wanted a strong government regulation of the railroad as shown through the strength given in the ICC or Interstate Commerce and the Elkins Act, which targeted the railroad practice for granting rebates to favored consumers, and lastly the Hepburn Act, which allowed the ICC to have a greater control to set railroad rates.
As president, Roosevelt put a lot of attention forth in the means of environmental conservation. Roosevelt appointed Guilford to head the United States Forest Service and led the government conservation efforts. This further led to the expansion of the national park system, as Roosevelt and the federal government created 5 national parks, 150 national forests, which put habitats and ecosystems of animals under public protection.
What a guy, am I right?
But that's not it. Roosevelt also really put focus towards making sure that the nation's natural resources should be used in a responsible manner, that they would continue to exist for future generations. He really shaped the nation to start conserving resources for the betterment of our future.
Lastly, Roosevelt recognized the public outcry for the conditions of the meatpacking industry. This led to the passing of the Meat Inspection Act, passed in 1906, largely in reaction to Upton Sinclair's The Jungle. The law set strict standards of cleanliness in the meatpacking industry, as well as the Pure Food and Drug Act, passed in 1906. The first law to regulate manufacturing of food and medicines prohibited dangerous additives and inaccurate labeling. This led to the establishment of the Food and Drug Administration.
Wow, Roosevelt really overshadowed those other progressive presidents through his actions to save the nation from the corrupt and sick standards that were once implemented.
Wow, that's really amazing, Hampton.
Just as Roosevelt remade himself even in the darkest of times, he remade the nation in the realm of the Gilded Age. And that is just so inspiring, and I'm just so touched.